I'm here in front of you now to really give you an overhaul of transportation, but really it's about mobility, giving people mobility options. Giving everyone mobility options is really what we're on about. That's our focus. So now we're in the realm of mass transit networks, hub and spoke, getting people in and out of a city centre. That's what we have now in the city of Hobart. In the future, I've seen all the stats, you are growing, absolutely. So there might be a few more hubs around the place that people want to get in and out of, and that's all part of the urban planning for the future. How are we going to cater for these people? Okay, so now all of a sudden, as we're looking into the future, university person, we do these things. Several hubs, spokes connecting it all up. There's going to be some gaps around how can we use, that will be the crux of our mass transit system. And I said before, that might be bus, might be rail, next presentation might be ferries. We don't know yet, okay? We need to do all the modelling work and stuff. But there's going to be gaps, okay? To have mobility for everyone, we need to link the mass transit spokes together. And we can do that with enhanced mobility services using a variety of different technology products. Some of that might be autonomous vehicles, it could be apps, it could be a whole host of things as well. But technology can definitely play, new developing technologies can absolutely play a major role in the new mobility services that we're proposing in this overhaul scenario. So, again, the focus, giving everyone mobility options. The young, okay, people without driver's licence, huge issue. How do they get around? Well, mum and dad, of course, how else? But if you provide appropriate public transport systems now that actually come to your front door and deliver you your final destination right outside the door. Are people going to be comfortable putting their young children, their preteens, teenagers on these types of systems? The elderly, okay? So while you hold a driver's licence, that's fine. You've got a car, you've got mobility. What happens when you lose your licence, either due to a medical episode, and that you don't have to be elderly for that to happen, or you get to the age where your family says, well, actually, mum or dad, it's not safe for you to drive anymore. Okay, all of a sudden they've lost all their mobility options. Okay, how can we replace that without putting that burden back on the family? Those without cars. Stephen talked before, and Anna have talked a lot about the socio-economic impacts of only using a car. If you can afford a car, if you can afford to run a car, that's great. But if you can't, what does that mean? How do you get around? Even in Adelaide, I've heard some horror stories that people can't get fresh fruit because they can't afford a car and they live too far away from a supermarket. It's dreadful. Is that the kind of city you want? How are we going to counterbalance that? Okay, mobility for everyone, but really, in order to provide this level of service through public transport, and it's a new era of public transport now, we really need to improve public transport and provide lots of options in the first mile and last mile. These feeder services that I was talking about, it absolutely, and I know in Adelaide we have, as I'm sure we do here in Hobart as well, the local councils run their own community bus services for that first mile, last mile to get people around. So, we can use conventional type vehicles and technologies, but we can also use autonomous technologies. And I'll talk about that more a bit later and what we're doing at our Flinders campus, mainly as feeder services, okay? Mass transit is that point to point, moving a lot of people quickly and efficiently, okay? But in order for that to be efficient, we need to put the people on there. So we need these feeder services. technology can really play a part in that, and linking with those mass transit systems. Another important lens to look at this overhaul scenario in is that really we need to be convinced that places are for people and not for cars. Okay? Active transport, and I touched on it before. Walking and cycling are important for people's health. Those who can, those who choose to, should be able to use those transport options. Comes down to urban planning and providing that infrastructure. Sometimes it's cheap, sometimes it's not, but we need to be able to do this in this scenario that has a really serious look at overhauling mobility. Urban planning. So these places that we're talking about, and I hinted at before, might not just be the CBD, as it's very obvious now. All the statistics, all the traffic volumes, all the in and out movements are absolutely based in the Hobart CBD. Almost 3/4 of traffic volume come in and out of Hobart CBD every day. Can we continue that into the future? So there need to be more hubs. Enhance public transport services to link these new centres. And really another change is that can public transport actually get you into those places where the car can't? Either because they're banned, or because the road infrastructure hasn't been provided. We've provided a bus lane to get you right outside of Myers. We provided a trackless tram track. No, that doesn't make sense. You get the gist. It's these new technologies that are getting you from door to door rather than the car. So, this really does require a shift in transportation culture. Australia, Adelaide, Hobart, absolutely, the car is king, okay? We have Sydney, Melbourne, Brisbane, absolutely, southeast Queensland, some of the mega cities. In some of those mega cities, why would you want to drive a car? Why would you want to drive to town and park and pay $100 for the pleasure? Stuck in traffic, bumper to bumper and stuff. That's not what you want to see for Hobart, okay? Not that Hobart might never become a mega city. That might be what you want, but you don't want those problems to happen as well. So the car is not king. However, I am talking about public transport, different modes of public transport, providing you these door-to-door services. Okay, so you could have an autonomous shuttle bus, Flex, Flinders Express. That's the one we're trialling at the moment at our Tonsley campus. You'll have to hop onto one of those. That will take you to the bus stop or the trackless tram stop. That will get you to another mode shift point. And then you hop on another one and take you to that will take you to your final destination. So that's 3 transfers. How many two transfers? How many transfers is too many? Okay, before you just hopped in your car and off you went. Okay, that's that cultural shift that I was talking about. You also need to be able to make informed choices. If you're going to catch all these different modes of public transport in order to have this door-to-door type service, because the car is banned or you're not allowed to use it, you need the technology or the e-infrastructure to back you up with that. You need to know, everyone needs to know what everything else is doing. So where is my autonomous shuttle? When will it be at my doorstep? Can I track it on the app? How about people who haven't got mobile phones? How are we going to do that? How are we going to integrate all this technology together? It can be done, but will it be accepted or adopted? Okay, it's no good a university professor here saying, yes, you should use this technology, it's really good. It doesn't work like that. We have a minister in the audience, some MPs and stuff, they know as well. Just because they back it doesn't mean it will be used. So part of the trialling, okay, I'm a big fan of trialling, and part of our trial of Flex at our Tonsley campus is all about, really one of the focuses of that project is, will this technology be accepted? That vehicle there up on the screen, you hop in it, there's no steering wheel, there's no pedals, okay? There's no driver, there's a chaperone, okay? At the moment we have a chaperone. That chaperone, their job is to chaperone, to ensure safety, to make sure that everyone on board is safe. The technology is nearly there, but it's not quite. So what does that mean? It means when someone illegally parks in front of Flex, the chaperone has got an Xbox controller and drives around, okay? That's where we are. Obstacle avoidance is coming. It's not there yet. But there are all these issues that technology can solve, absolutely, but will it be accepted? So one of the first driverless vehicles conferences I went to, the best presentation I went to wasn't an engineering one, it was actually a philosopher. Got up on stage and said, we know we've got this autonomous stuff leaked when a mum is happy to put her primary school children in one of these autonomous shuttles and take them to school. Okay, so how's that going to happen? Well, it's these trials. We invite these mums to come, and it's amazing. During school holidays, we get a lot of mums, unbeknownst to me. One of the mums put up a Facebook page, free events. Go to Tonsley and with your kids and ride on Flex and the autonomous shuttle bus and stuff. So the feedback has been really positive. We get a lot of kids. Our thousands, we launched on the 19th of June. We've had 1,500 people on board. All the feedback has been quite good. And what's my measure of goodness? Is this a serious technology that people will accept? Okay, I'll go back to my hardcore engineering days. People will be willing to accept this technology if they're willing to pay. They're willing to pay, I can't believe it. Anywhere between 50 cents and $3, and their preferred method of payment is in Adelaide we have what's called a Metro card, which is like a debit card, okay? Overwhelming support for this type of technology that will absolutely, these trials and this type of technology will absolutely lead to these cultural shifts that will see scenario for this overhaul using public transport, mass transit together with enhanced public transport systems like this autonomous bus really work.